Hey, what's going on YouTube? Adaptations here, and this morning, Jagex actually hotfixed the drops at Tempoross. I'm really excited they did this, as many people I talked to felt as though the drops were pretty underwhelming. I mean, I think we can all agree on that, right? I'm sure that many of you watching this probably felt the same way at first. So now that the drops have been buffed, I decided to see what I'd get from 155 reward permits, and figured I'd record it to share the information with the community. In the Q&A yesterday, they brought up the underwhelming drops and stated that it's easier to buff something to make it better than it is to nerf away something that we already have. Now, I'm really happy to see them take this approach because when we look back at something like Zulrah, for instance, it got nerfed 3 times and was still one of the best moneymakers in the game. Well, I suspected this buff was something that was going to happen, as doing the boss for an hour and getting 40k worth of salmon and other low tier drops just didn't quite seem right with the drops that are supposed to scale to your level. I believe I even got the low end of the unbuffed drops, as I saw other people getting at least like 60k GP from an hour of drops. Before going into the loot, I would like to ask that you please like the video, as it helps push my videos and channel to more people, and it's the easiest way to help me out if you enjoy the video or any of the other content that I create. Something to mention is that I am 99 fishing, so your mileage may vary, however, they did say that the drops are tiered. So 92 fishing should get you about the same drops as someone who is 99. After looting all of my 155 permits, I didn't manage to get the pet, however I did get the big harpoon fish. And on release day, on my first 10 rewards, I actually managed to get the fish barrel, which is pretty cool. I also got a few soaked pages, but they really aren't anything too special on their own, only about 5k each or so I believe. After looting all 155 reward permits, I price checked the loot and managed to get 815k GP. And I noticed that I seemed to get many more higher leveled fish like sea turtles, manta rays, sharks, swordfish, and so on. When I went to sell on the GE, however, I only actually managed to net 755k GP, as some of the loot wouldn't sell for anywhere near the mid price. The biggest problem I had was the bass. The bass wouldn't even sell for like half what the GE value was, so I ended up just dumping it in for 1 GP each and just trying to dump it immediately, and honestly, I don't think it sold too much higher over that, and that's a little depressing. Overall, the game seemed to take about 7 minutes from starting game 1 to the start of game 2, and if you don't loot in between, without cooking or using an infernal harpoon, I was averaging 2 points per game in the Tempoross world. This means that on average, I was finishing about 8.5 games an hour for about 17 points an hour. Based on what I got, the average reward permit was worth around 4.8k GP, which means I was making around 80k GP an hour at this boss. Now this doesn't sound like a lot, however this is pretty solid considering my XP rates were also hovering around 70 to 80k XP an hour. I was getting more XP than barb fishing and profiting at the same time, which is really good to see, honestly. Looking at these numbers, I believe it's always better to maximize XP at this boss because even if you get double the points, you're still only making 160k an hour, which is okay for fishing, but not at the cost of the much slower XP rates. Overall, I'm still having a blast at this boss. It feels very old school and it's probably my favorite piece of content in a long time. I'm hopeful that in the future, more content gets released that isn't immediately the meta and makes everything else kind of dead content like Wintertodd did, but the content should offer a good kind of distraction from the regular grind, even if this means that it's much less profitable or much less XP an hour. For example, if some sort of boss was released for rune crafting and you get maybe half of what lava runes give and under half of the GP per hour of blood runes, then I think we would be in like an okay-ish spot, right? So far we've got Wintertodd for fire making, Volcano for mining, Tempoross for fishing, so hey, it might happen, right? That's all that I have for this video though. If you guys found it useful, please be sure to subscribe. And if you have a specific video you'd like to see in the future, please let me know in the comments and maybe I'll use your idea for a future video. I hope you all have a nice day. Hopefully I will see you either in a future live stream or in a future video. Goodbye.